Another conference is shutting down. The Writer MBA conference has been losing money, and they are closing down their services and what they're offering, and just focusing on fiction. I read through the announcement as to why they were closing down, and it's just they can't make money. There's so much work they're trying to do. They can't afford to pay somebody to do it for them. They don't have the time to do it and focus on their fiction businesses. There's just so much that is taking it out of them, and they just have to close this down. Now, they are saying we feel like we accomplished the impact that we wanted to accomplish. They did do a lot of work for direct sales, getting authors into direct sales. They did a lot of work into crowdfunding, getting authors comfortable with the idea of crowdfunding and kickstarting. And so they are stating that they're taking it as a win, that they've done what they wanted to do. And now they're just moving on to focus on their fiction markets. Thomas, what do you have to say?
So this is something I think a lot about as somebody who supports my family by making services and training and conferences for authors. And I will say, this is a really difficult industry. It's like authors don't have a lot of money. It's not like serving, say, plumbers or dentists, right? Like almost every other sector, there's more money selling the exact same services, right? If I were taking my marketing services, I could make more money doing marketing for almost any other group. Even churches would pay better than what authors pay. And doing a conference for authors is very risky. And part of the reason for the risk is that you have a lot of fixed upfront costs and you have variable revenue. So what you pay for the venue is fixed. What you pay for the speakers is fixed. And all those flights and hotels, there's a lot of fixed costs. And if you don't sell a sufficient number of tickets, often what happens in the conference world is that the last conference that loses money wipes out all of the profits from all of the previous conferences.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a very scary business to be in. And every year when I'm thinking about whether or not to do Novel Marketing Conference next year, I think about this really hard because most people don't return to conferences, right? There's not a lot of incentive to come back, and certainly to come back over and over again. So an easy mistake to make as running a conference is to underestimate the cost of customer acquisition, right? You have to go out and find new people every year to come to your conference. One of the things I've done to help with this is I have basically two conferences. So there's the blue conference and the red conference. So every year of Novel Marketing Conference is 100% different than the next year. But the third year will rhyme with the first year. And so my hope is that I can increase the number of people who come back a second time. But I still know that it's mostly going out and grabbing new people to come to the conference. So it's a tough business. And Writer MBA was very generous. And they really helped a lot of folks.
Yeah.
And they could have kept these secrets to themselves, right? There is a sense, especially like advertising and marketing, that the more you share, the more competition you create for yourself. And the other thing that I've noticed, and I think this is also a part of it, very few people create services for writers because that's what they wanted to do. Often what happens is somebody's writing novels. They've always wanted to write novels their whole life. They've experienced a little bit of success with their novels, but not enough to pay the bills. So they still need a day job. But they now have these skills of writing novels and marketing, and they can sell writing novels and marketing skills as knowledge or coaching or training to other authors. And so they start doing that, and they have basically two businesses that they run simultaneously. They have their fiction novels business and then their training for authors business. And sometimes what happens is the fiction takes off, right? Their novels start getting more and more popular. And after a while, they're like, I'm making a lot of money being a successful novelist. Why am I teaching other authors how to do this for comparatively less money? Or I'm having way more fun writing novels because that's what I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it, where I don't think the folks behind Writer MBA wanted to do Writer MBA. I don't think that was their first love. I think fiction was their first love. And folks in the chat can relate to this, right? And Jonathan, this is one difference between us. You're an actual novelist. I am not.
I feel targeted right now.
Yeah, I have no particular desire to write a novel. I for whatever reason, actually enjoy serving authors. That's part of the reason why the Novel Marketing Podcast is the longest running book marketing podcast, because I've seen a lot of really successful things like the Writer MBA kind of come and go over the years. And I do think they're right in that they've really helped the conversation. I think selling direct was going to happen. I think selling direct actually probably was the number one thing they helped with. I think Kickstarter was going to happen whether or not they pushed it. I've been pushing Kickstarter for a long time, but really what made Kickstarter take off was Brandon Sanderson. And you can see this because the genres closer to Sanderson are the ones that are doing the best on Kickstarter. And so it was really Sanderson bringing his audience and proving it. It's like, well, gosh, if Brandon Sanderson can make $50 million, maybe I could make 1 million. And you go on and you only make $10,000, but you're like, well, $10,000 is still a lot of money. And then you do it again. So,
well, we'll see how that arc terminates, because now a bunch of companies have seen Brandon Sanderson's success and they are trying to jump in on the Kickstarter thing too. So we'll see what happens when Kickstarter becomes more corporate rather than artist focused.
My course on Kickstarter was the first ever course on Kickstarter to successfully fund on Kickstarter. Although we actually did it on Indiegogo, we switched at the last minute because in the early days, Kickstarter was pretty hostile to nonfiction content. They're not that way anymore.